What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Tuesday night's late night agenda. As always, we've a lot to get through over the next however long the stream lasts for. I hope if you're watching the Champions League football, you're enjoying it. Just as I started to come on, it was 1-0 to Real Madrid. Vinicius Jr. had just opened the scoring. So today, what I thought we'd do is look at Liverpool's players who are at the club and ask the question, keep, sell, or renew for Virgil, Salah and Trent. Look at the rest of the squad, see what we think there. We'll discuss links to goalkeepers, we'll discuss why Liverpool have cancelled the open top bus parade and loads of other bits and pieces. It is, as always, a busy show, so keep your thoughts coming in. Appreciate you guys joining me. If you haven't already, please do drop a quick like on the stream and let's get stuck into it. Right, let's see we go. FSG out for me. Said Booga Boy. I see Lee Claxton was the same. He was an FSG out. I'm not FSG out as much as I'm sick of their cheap ways, mate. But, you know, I'm in the middle on it. I see some good stuff, some bad stuff. But ultimately, I just want a little bit more money for the managers. And I'd be quite happy. Lamer is a decent midfielder, said Barry. I think it's a really good decision. We're not having a parade now, said Ewan. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can start off with that one, Ewan. So the news was announced today that Liverpool will not be having that end of season parade. The one that was announced earlier on in the campaign. And look, you have to be honest, it's a little bit embarrassing. A little bit embarrassing that we've had to cancel it because I would imagine the thought process was that we would probably have a better end to the campaign than the way it's playing out. And we already had the Carabao Cup in the bag at that point, so yeah, I mean, look, I have to admit, I thought we'd have another trophy at this point as well, or at least heading towards another trophy. So I can understand cancelling it. You know, we're going to finish probably third in the league. And the Carabao Cup feels a bit of an anticlimax. So I think it's the right decision. Jurgen deserves a massive send-off, no doubt about that. And I'm sure he will get it on the final day of the season. But yeah, the open top bus parade, I think that's the right decision. Look, they have caveated it with unless Liverpool win the league, which I don't think at this point is likely going to happen. So I think we can safely say it's going to be cancelled. I want to ask about the owners tonight, actually, because we've spent a lot of time over the last while talking about Arne Slot, talking about Michael Edwards, talking about Richard Hughes, talking about the players, Jurgen Klopp. I want to just focus on the owners for a little bit tonight and ask, what is a realistic expectation for the summer transfer window with regards to a new manager coming in? Do we think it's going to be same old under FSG, or may we actually see them finally start to spend some money? I mean, I'm not holding out much hope for it, but you never know in this world. Keep Trent, sell Salah, and it's a good idea that the parade is cancelled, said Ian Greenstreet. FSG has to spend at least the money for Caicedo, said Felix. Pocket money, said Big Man. Joshua reckons 200 million minimum. Actually, on this, you may have seen it in my video earlier on when I put up the news video earlier today. I can't believe that I'm having to say this out loud, but we put up a clip earlier on, a joking clip about the £7 million transfer budget for Arne Slot, which was linked to my 777 stuff. And some people actually thought I was being serious. Some people didn't see the joke and were asking, are we really only getting 7 million to spend? 7 million wouldn't even buy you a 16-year-old. No, it was a joke. I don't believe I have to explain that it was a joke, but there we go. I was genuinely very confused reading through the comments, seeing people thought we were serious with that. It was a short that was based off another post, but there you go. The comments were hilarious, Goomy. I couldn't believe what I was reading, going through them, mate. I thought, surely these people are on a wind-up. There you go. Craig, you're naughty. Look, I like having a bit of fun. You know, life's boring. You know me. I'm a bit of a wind-up merchant, but I thought that was a really obvious one, to be fair. Wasn't there something that said we'd be having a good budget for the summer? I don't know, Tyler, because genuinely, mate, we don't really announce budgets. You know, we've never been a club that go out there and say we're going to spend X or Y, but, you know, we need to go out and spend this summer. We do, because we need to finish off the rebuild. What's this Mark sent me? So it looks like Liverpool and Feyenoord both want to announce the Slot deal this week coming from Fabrizio Romano. So look, we don't know when that announcement will be, but it does look like the announcement will be forthcoming soon. Forever LFC said, I don't trust FSG. They've milked Liverpool for long enough. with the sell to buy model, at least until we have a stronger squad, because 3-4 injuries next year and we're screwed. I do feel like this would be a nice summer to not put in squad filler, to go out there and actually go strategically, surgically, and go bing, bang, bosh. We need these positions. So over the last few days, we've seen the journalists start to say that Liverpool are looking as a centre-back as a priority. Today, we've heard that Liverpool are looking for a wide player as well, and we'll discuss that in the next while. So yeah, no more being cheap. Time to go out there and get it done. But let's talk about... Fabrizio said Salah out. I don't believe he did. But, you know, we'll talk about that. So, I've thought a lot over the past 24 hours about the situation with Virgil van Dijk, with Mohamed Salah, and with Trent Alexander-Arnold. But I've also been pleased what I've been hearing, because over the last day or two, murmurings have started to come out that if indeed Liverpool are to extend Virgil and Mo, it will be on reduced terms. Now, that makes sense to me. I don't know if the players will accept that, but it is good to see that at least the reports on it are starting to be a little bit reasonable, because there's no way we could continue to pay these guys the money that they're currently earning. Virgil van Dijk's 33 in the summer. Salah's going to be 32 in the summer. So, you know, the idea of giving them a pay rise just feels madness. But this is why I said tonight with the title, sell, keep, or renew. Or so what are we going to do? Let's go through them all one by one and figure out what you guys are thinking. Nice one, Craig. Thanks, mate. I totally agree with you. Thank you, Forever LFC. Craig, what positions do you think we need to strengthen? Centre-back, defensive midfield, and attack. You could very well make an argument for full-backs, and we probably will. But right now, if Mo stays or goes, it doesn't really matter to me. I think we need competition for him on the right side of attack, regardless. On top of that, I feel like the sticking plaster of Endo in the number 6 position, it done a service to us this season, but I don't think it's good enough going forward. I think if we realistically want to be challenging at the top, we've got to go out there and bring in a big signing. And after that, we need a centre-back. No doubt about that in my mind. Joe Matip leaving alone means we need a centre-back. But we also need cover for Virgil if he stays, so Virgil can get some recovery minutes. Virgil's played a lot of football this season for somebody who's 32 years of age. So having the ability to rotate him out if he stays will be an important factor for me as well. Let's have a poll on it all. Oh, we will, Ian. Don't you worry about that. We will. Let me get the first poll up. And I'm going to start tonight with the captain, because I feel like we've talked the Salah situation to death. Let's ask about Virgil. What would you do? And I'm going to ask via a poll, of course, so bear with me as I write it out. Right, bear with me, folks. Okay. Cool. There we go. Excellent. Right. So, 3 options. What should we do with VVD? New deal on less money, sell, or rundown deal and let him leave for free. So they're the 3 realistic options, I think. I don't think the idea of giving him a pay increase is on the table, and certainly what I've seen from the journalists don't suggest it's on the table either. So let's start off with our captain. What should we do? Remember, Virgil will be 33 when next season starts. So he is getting to the business end of his career. He can certainly play on for a few more years. I think most of us would agree with that. I'm somewhere stuck between... I'm probably stuck between letting him run down his contract or giving him a new deal on lesser terms. I don't feel like selling him at this point would be the best idea. I think it would be a lot of turnover. And with a new Dutch manager coming in, I would imagine having a Dutch centre-back there would probably help. Virg, I believe, can play for another couple of years. The captaincy conversation is a whole another conversation. But I feel like if you let Virg go for free at 34, I think I could stomach that. Because I don't know how much Virgil would be worth right now if we were to sell him this summer. So let's say we sold him at 1 year to go as a 33-year-old. No idea how much money you would get for Virg. But I do know getting 1 more year out of him and letting him leave at the end of that, I could live with that. Financially for the club, there's probably far more benefit to selling him. But that's my view on it. 1 more year on his current contract, then let him leave for free, or renew him on less money. That would be one of my 2 priorities, or one of my 2 preferences, I should say, excuse me. Simon Jones is a clown. That's a whole another... Do you mean Simon Jordan? I think you mean Simon Jordan. That's a whole another conversation, though. And we will move on to talk about Simon Jordan in a while, because I've always said the same thing about him. If you want to know, if you're English and you want to know why some people think English people are arrogant, look no further. He is the epitome of why people feel like there is an arrogance occasionally. I don't like him. I've never liked him. I think he talks a load of shite. Occasionally you get something decent out of his mouth, but most of the time he just doesn't listen to other people's views, thinks that he's right on everything, and is very domineering to others. So I don't like Simon Jordan. I know what he said today about Mohamed Salah, but I don't want to give TalkSport their time, because I really think they just appeal to the lowest common denominator, and I don't like TalkSport. I don't like the way that they go about operating. I don't like the presenters a lot of the time. I just don't like them. Is there a chance we can get Branthwaite? Well, you never say never, but put it this way. If Everton had an option to sell Branthwaite to us, to United, or to somebody else, we'd be bottom of the table there. We could have last year before he signed that new deal. Probably would have been a better chance to go and get him. He is a very good centre-back though, but I don't think it's feasible, if I'm being really honest. Would I sell Canade? No, I wouldn't, but he may move down the pecking order if we bring in a new centre-back. That's one thing I would say. Canade needs to pull up his socks and start showing massive improvements. The lack of respect VVD gets on here is shocking. Fuck you, Stephen. Just honestly, just do one, you absolute moany, whingy little fucking clown. I'm sick of this type of shit, mate. I'm sick of it. I am absolutely sick to death that you can't have a conversation around anyone without somebody crying and whinging like a little cry-ar saying, oh, the disrespect. We're having a conversation. You can be part of the conversation. If you want to defend Virgil or you want to speak up for him, then do it without trying to demean other people. This absolute nonsense of trying to just piss all over everybody else's opinions without actually contributing needs to come to a stop. If you've got something to say to the conversation, mate, add to it. If you don't, shut up. It's that simple, really. And Virgil is being judged on what we're seeing. And nobody has made a definitive decision. That's the why we go with a poll. We ask the question and we get an opinion on it. I don't understand how you don't get that, or how that isn't acceptable. It's weird. Other people are allowed opinions that you don't agree with, Stephen. Surprise, surprise. Not everybody agrees with everything. I don't agree with half the stuff I see in the chat, but I still want to give people the perspective that they're allowed to talk and think differently. But what I don't like is people who just neg. Don't have anything to add to the conversation. Just want to belittle others. And if that's the type of person you want to be, best find another channel. Because we want people who have, yes, varied opinions, but are respectful. So, stop moaning. One I like is Jeff Stelling. I do like Jeff Stelling. I didn't even know Jeff Stelling was on TalkSport, to be honest with you, mate. But I do like Jeff Stelling. Yes, Jeff's a legend. Broadcasting legend. And by the way, I've not seen a single bit of disrespect towards VVD in here. I see people having an opinion about whether he's getting worse, whether he's staying the same, We've talked about the captaincy, and I'll be honest, I don't like him as a captain, but I've tried to caveat that by saying I've no problem with him staying on. I'm just fed up with the negativity. It's like, if you say something about Darwin, it's hate. You couldn't possibly just be critiquing or have an opinion. It goes straight to hate. That's nonsense. Salah's probably staying. What's your opinion? Move on to him in a minute, Rafid. We're going to go through Salah, Trent and Virg, and we're going to go through the same process with each three. Currently, we have a poll running there of what the Anfield Agenda community thinks would be the best way to go about it. Look, there's no right or wrong answer here. You're entitled to an opinion. My opinion with Virg is a new deal on less money. No problem with that. Letting him run down his deal and leave next summer, no problem with that. I just don't think now is the time we need to be moving Virgil on, personally. Meant to say I live down the road from him. Oh, nice. He's a lovely guy, Jeff Stelling. I've never had the pleasure of meeting him, but a great broadcaster and somebody who I'd have the utmost respect for. Right, let's have a look anyway and see how this poll's getting on. So, what should we do with VVD is question number 1. A new deal on less money is a landslide, so we don't need to keep this one running. 73% of you guys think a new deal for Virgil on less money is the outcome that you would like to see. I think it's sensible. I do think it's sensible because we're going to have upheaval already this summer. We're going to have it with a new sporting director. We're going to have it with a new gaffer. So yeah, the limiting of that on the pitch, if possible, makes sense. No problem with Virgil or anyone getting a contract on less money. No problem with that whatsoever. What I've always said is I don't feel giving Salah or Virg an improvement would make any sense. I just don't think they've gotten better over time, if you get where I'm coming from. So look, that was the one for Virgil. We'll move on to do the one for... Who do you want to do next? Trent or Salah? So let's be serious. Nunez got one more season to pull his stocks up and start scoring goals. If not, who could we get or who would want to come to us? On Darwin, I actually do have a piece I want to do on Darwin in a while, mate. So I will get back to that. I'm not pawning off your question. I will get back to it. Right. Trent. Okay, Trent is the one that you guys have asked for next. No problemo. Let's get going. Now, obviously with Trent, the conversation will be different. You won't be giving him a contract on less money. That's not going to happen because of his age. So, we'll just say new deal. No, actually, we'll say new deal on more money. Because it will be. After that, we will say sell. Oh, I feel grubby even writing that. And then for the last one, we will say allow him to run his deal down. Cool. Right, so for Trent, same three options, slight bit different. Do we give him a new deal on more money? Do we sell, or do you allow him to run down his current deal? I think this should be a no-brainer. You know, you don't want to lose. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you want to sell him. I don't know, but you certainly don't want a talent like Trent running his contract down and leaving for free. I would imagine that this would be a new deal on more money would be the answer for most of you guys in the chat because it makes sense. Jonathan said, great content, keep it going. Thank you. Look, I know, and Stephen, if he's watching, I know I was a bit cranky, but I'm fed up with the negativity. Like, people need to understand that other people have opinions that might not be the same as theirs. And if you come into a conversation and your point of view is that you disagree, fair enough, say it, but add something to it. You know, you don't just say, the state of everybody being negative about Virgil. It's their opinion, mate. If you have a different opinion, tell us why you disagree. Just the negging needs to stop because it doesn't help any of us. And anyway, Stephen, you should be able to reply away there, mate, if you want to. But, like, that was my point. Like, people are allowed to be critical of somebody without it not coming to the world's falling apart. You know, we need to stop with that. Players are praised when they do really well, and nobody has an issue with that. But if they're not playing well and people feel they need to critique them or think, heaven forbid, a 33-year-old might be slowing down a bit, I think they're very valid conversations. And we should all be able to express how we feel without fear of hate or fume or whatever. It just doesn't feel right. New contract and captain's armband for Trent, said yes global. Would you let VVD and Salah and Trent leave if the transfer brings in 300 million? I mean, I can't answer the question because I'd need a breakdown of each one. You know, if Trent, let's say, was bringing in 200 of that, then you'd look at it differently than if Virgil was bringing in 50, Mo was bringing in 150 and Trent was bringing in 100. But I wouldn't look to move Trent on in any situation because we need him. We need that continuity. We need the experience. And Trent and Joe Gomez probably falls into this category as well, are two players who are extremely well respected in the group, extremely experienced, but still young. Like Trent is now, what, 25? Gomez is, what, 26? And look at how long they've been around. But Trent's only coming into what we probably class as his prime years now. Trent should stay. Trent is an academy player, still not in his prime 100%. I feel like he's going to become a better player in the future, said Rafid. Trent must not go. Great player, said Brandon. Robbie said Trent must play in midfield. What would Salah be worth now? Don't know. Honestly, I don't. Yeah, I guess we may find out over the summer or we may not, but I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. Like, if you look at other scenarios, like last year, where you had a Harry Kane of a similar age profile, went for about 100 million. In years gone past, similar contract situation, similar type of age, you had Eden Hazard. So, same 100 million euro to Real Madrid. So I don't know if it's... The January market has kind of skewed me a little bit because there was no money really spent in January because of the amount of teams who were fearful of the profit and sustainability rules or a breach of that. So that kind of skewed the market. So I don't know if we'll see a reaction to that in this summer's transfer window where clubs feel a bit more freedom to spend, or if we're going to have another strange window. Like Saudi, as an example. Saudi are going to look towards bringing in younger players now in this window. They've had a shift in their transfer policy already. So the likes of going in there and getting aging stars at the end of their careers, that looks like it's somewhat coming to an end. So I don't know if that will have an impact on the market. Jen, thank you, Jen, for gifting 10 memberships. Somebody gifted 5 earlier and I missed out on it. It was Jen. Thank you, Jen. I was scrolling back up. I was in my little rant at the time, Jen. Sorry. So, Jen, yes, incredibly kind of you, my friend. Thank you for gifting those memberships to people. It's really nice. I think with the Trent one, we can knock this one on the head as well. 85% of you guys think that the right thing to do is give Trent a new deal with more money. And look, I think it's the very sensible play. So, with Virgil, we had give him a new deal on less money. Most people think keep Virgil around, give him, offer him a new deal on reduced terms. That's the way forward. I agree. Actually, I've agreed with both your votes so far, to be honest. Now let's see what happens with Mo. We'll do the same thing. Right. So first one, much like Virgil, exact same answers. New deal on less money. Second one, sell. And third option, allow to run his deal down. Right, same for Mo as the other two gents, except unlike Virg, Trent had an option that you got a higher wage. I don't think that's likely to come for Virgil or Mo with their age profile. So, same with Salah. What do we do? Do we look to cash in? Do we offer him a new contract on reduced terms? Or do you get the last year of his contract and allow him to leave for free? Again, up to you guys what you decide. I'm not going to try and skew this vote. But as I said, I am interested to see what the Saudi reaction will be, because we've seen today, as an example, this was posted by David Ornstein, who said, the Saudi admiration for Mo Salah hasn't gone away, but it's not quite as urgent and aggressive as it was last summer. If Salah is committed to Liverpool, then it's case closed. And what I will say is, and obviously I don't know Mo personally, but I do feel like Salah will look at the situation and think he's not ready to retire, which, let's be honest, that's what Saudi is at this point to players. So I think for me it boils down to two things. Can we keep him focused, committed and excited enough that we keep him at the club for another year or two? Or do you think if he wants to continue on in Europe, which I believe he will, do you look to then see if he wants a new challenge? I think they're the realistic options here. I don't think he'll go to Saudi. I'd be very surprised if he'd go to Saudi at this point. You know, because the more I've thought about this, the more I feel he is on the decline. And I'm not going to change my mind on that. But I can understand the prospect of him wanting a couple more years in Europe. I feel he's well capable of that. So the question for me is, would he accept reduced terms at Liverpool if Michael Edwards offered them to him? It's a difficult negotiation, you know, because Salah will correctly, and his agent, point to his service to the club, the goals he scored, the records he's broken, and that he wants his wage bill to reflect his seniority and his achievements at the club. And normally I'd agree with that. And to some extent I still do. But I think you also have to look at it from the side of, you're not getting better. Same with Virgil. Neither of these two are going to get better, but they can probably continue on a level that they're at. Then what do you do money-wise? I think the answer is hope that they accept reduced terms. But if they don't, this is what I'm concerned about. If Virgil was to say, no, I'm not taking reduced terms, I'm happy to sign on, but I want the same money or more, that's a difficult decision for Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. If the same is with Mohamed Salah, I would say same thing. Very difficult decision. You know, is he worth a pay increase? I don't think so. Same as I've said about Virgil. He knows nobody's watching the Saudi League, let's be honest. I mean, look, no argument for me, dude. The Saudi League, I don't think it's ever going to catch on the way they maybe wanted to. I just don't think it will. I think the temperature alone, like the heat, I mean, is enough that it will never really catch on. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think it could be a good league in that part of the world. It could be the standout league in that part of the world. But I don't know if it'll ever compete with the likes of Europe. I just don't think it will. Maybe that's snobbery from my part. I'm open to that as well. Salah being the creator, his number has been affected by Nunez conversion, but his numbers and performance still haven't been the same. 100 mil plus and I'd sell, said Harry Klein. Thank you for your super chat, Harry. So I'm going to read something out to you about Liverpool's forwards. Something that I got from an article last night that I wanted to read out to you guys. So maybe this will help steer the conversation. So this article starts out, well, the section that I've pulled from it said, Darwin Nunez is the usual scapegoat on this topic, and there's no escaping the fact that he has the worst big chance conversion rate of forwards who have had at least 10 clear-cut chances this term. He's missed 26 of his 32 big openings. The next question was, how does Slot get more out of Liverpool's £85 million investment? But with Luis Diaz and Salah also ranking among the top 10 for big chances missed this season, there is a wider finishing problem at Liverpool. Liverpool have the highest expected goals total in the Premier League this season, but underperformed that figure having scored 77 rather than the anticipated 79.5 that our XG shows. In contrast, Arsenal and Manchester City have scored 115 goals. No, excuse me, I'm thinking about charges. In contrast, Arsenal and City have scored 15 and 12 goals more, respectively, than their XG figures. So, Arsenal have outperformed their XG by 15, Manchester City have outperformed their XG by 12, and Liverpool have underperformed their XG by 4.5. So, across the board, our finishing hasn't been good enough this year. Whether it's Diaz, whether it's Salah, whether it's Darwin. Now, nobody will argue that Darwin hasn't missed the most chances. As we've pointed out there, he's missed 26 out of 32 big chances. But all of our forwards have been struggling to score the ones we should be scoring, because creating chances for the majority of this season hasn't been Liverpool's problem. It's been converting a lot of these chances that have cost us. So, how do we fix that? Do you get a psychologist to work with Darwin? Do you shake the attack up a little bit to maybe give them fresh ideas? Well, one thing that I did see around Arne Slot's system and how this could benefit Mohamed Salah more so than the way we currently play under Jurgen Klopp is that in Arne Slot's version of a 4-2-3-1 thing all this season, though, I think he's been too wide. I think he's having to do too much to get into the action areas. And if in Slot's system he can find a way to bring our right winger, our talisman, closer in to act as that second number 10 or closer to the central position, I think it'll benefit Mo because he won't have to work his way in. He has lost his pace. That's not up for debate. At least I hope it's not up for debate. I'm not saying he can't run, but I'm saying he's not the explosive player that he was originally. So if you can help adjust his game by bringing him in a bit closer, I think that would work. A lot of us would agree it's worth giving him a chance through the middle. And in Slot's system, if we can get Salah more involved and not stuck out on the sideline trying to play in, I think that will benefit everyone. I've done that one. Ooh. Who would you want Liverpool to buy out wide? I will move on to talk about that in a minute, Toby. Don't worry, mate. I'm not going to fob you off. I'll get back to talk about that in a second, bro. I just want to go through and get some comments on this situation. YouTube is attacking. We've emailed YouTube about these issues, and I don't think it's just down to our channel, but there is a problem at the minute with YouTube, and it is very frustrating for us because I've been booted out my own chat on a few occasions. You guys have been booted out. So I do apologise, but all I can say to you is we've emailed them, we've pointed out where the issues are, and we hope it'll get resolved soon. But thank you for your patience. Let me just look at these numbers. So what do we do with Mohamed Salah? New deal on less money, 32% of the vote. Sell, 62% of the vote. And allow his deal to run down, 5% of the vote. So it looks like you guys want to sell Mohamed Salah. That genuinely, that surprised me. I thought with the introduction of this conversation to allow him to have a new deal on less money, I thought that's where you were going to go. As to whether I agree or not, so here's where I stand on Salah. I think if you can guarantee me that FSG are going to give Arne Slot the money to bring in another forward, and it isn't weighted to whether we sell a forward or not, then I think I like the idea of giving Salah another year on less terms and keeping him at the club and hoping that this year was a blip. But it has to be a calculated risk. And by that I mean we have to have an option that if it isn't working out, that we can at least have somebody there to put pressure on him, which will hopefully up everyone's levels in attack. So for me, the more I've started to hear about journals talking about these reduced terms things being an option, I think that's probably where I'd go with it. So I think I'm probably in the give him another year on less terms and see if this season was a blip. Or the end of this season was a blip. I think that's where I'm at. But I do want us to bring in another wide forward because there's no pressure on some players in our squad. There's not really any pressure on Virg. There's not really any pressure on Salah. And until his injury, there was probably no pressure on Alisson. So I like competition because It stops people from going stale, getting lazy, and that's what I think. So I think I slightly disagree with you guys on that poll. But my position has changed in the past couple of days because I never thought the opportunity to give him that deal on less money would work. But if it is there and he would take it, I wouldn't say no to giving him another year. Usyk versus Fury prediction and love for Ngannou. Yes, on Francis Ngannou. I mean, I was really sad reading the story last night. If you're not aware, Francis Ngannou posted that unfortunately his 15-year-old son passed away. 15-month-old son passed away, and I don't know what to say, you know, incredibly sad. Incredibly sad. And on the Fury Usyk one, if you could guarantee me fair judges, I'd say Usyk. But I feel like Usyk has to knock him out to get a win because I think the judges will side with the Fury aspect of it. So I think if you could guarantee me fair judges, I go for Usyk on points. But I feel like Usyk may have to get the KO. Faraz Khan said, any Xavi Simons links, really rate him highly, places 10. No, he'll go back to PSG, mate, by the looks of it, you know. PSG are his parent club. He's on loan at Leipzig, so he'll go back there. Salah, I hope becomes better. I think we can't sell him right away. Extend his contract, says Rafid. Craig, can you kindly tell me factually Salah's conversion when he has an open goal? Because I think the problem's not just him playing wide. I don't know if I have those conversion numbers to hand. 1 second. I had numbers recently, but I'd have to scroll back quite a bit through my notes to find how many big chances they've missed. So I don't have them to hand at the minute, mate, no. But what I can say to you is, without a shadow of a doubt, Darwin is the biggest culprit, you know, with 26 of 32 big chances missed, which is just unacceptable. If I remember correctly, and this will be maybe 3 or 4 weeks old, I think Salah was in about a 50% conversion rate. I think he's scored as many as he's missed of big chances, but I think it was pretty much 1 for 1, if my memory was right. Do I think Slot will convert Trent into a midfielder? I'd imagine so. I would imagine so. You know, I can't say anything definitively because I don't know, but I would imagine so. Maybe that's because I'm a bit scared of him playing at right back. I do feel those days should be at an end. And do you know what? I'm kind of converted on that because I was somebody who always felt keep Trent at right back, you know, and make him into one of the best right backs in the world if he wasn't already. But I don't know if the hybrid role on the Jurgen has scarred me a little bit because initially I thought, oh, brilliant, we get to see Trent drift into the middle, impact games. But as that has gone on, I think more and more teams have been able to try to exploit that space. And it wasn't just a Trent problem, because when we had Bradley in there, same problem persisted. When we had Gomez in there, same problem persisted. So I don't like the hybrid role longer term. I think I can understand why Jurgen brought it in to keep Trent involved in games, but moving forward, I think either play him in midfield or, well, just play him in midfield. Play Nunez out wide where he played at Benfica. See, the problem with Nunez, in my opinion, about whether he's impacting games or not, is space behind. So it's okay saying put him out wide, but if there isn't space to operate, he'll still be nullified. You know, whether he has space to get in behind defenders out wide or centrally, you're still relying on the space. And he was brought in to be a number 9. So I actually sort of agree that his better position is off the left. But if Diaz is staying, then I don't think you can do that. I think you've got to put him to the centre. Oh, Sané is equalised for Bayern in that game. So it's 1-1. There you go, 1-1. Apparently it was a belter of a goal as well. I mean, do you know what I noticed in that game, actually, in the opening exchanges? There was a lot of wasted chances from Bayern Munich, and Sané was the culprit for some of them. But they were the better team from what I was seeing in the opening exchanges. They just gave away a very easy goal for Real Madrid to score. A lovely pass through from Toni Kroos and a good finish by Vinicius Jr. But I think when I was watching it anyway for the first 20 minutes or so, I thought Bayern were the better team. Right, so we've had the conversation about Salah, we've had the conversation about Virg, we've had the conversation about Trent. For those joining us late, we had 3 polls with 3 options. Virgil's option was extend him on less money, let him run down his contract and leave on a free, or sell. And you guys voted new deal, less money. Then we went for Trent, a little bit different. We had a vote that it was new deal, more money, because let's be honest, it will be if he stays. Sell or allow his contract to run down. And again, overwhelmingly, it was new deal, more money. Then we got to Salah, and this surprised me, because still, with the same options as Virgil, you guys were over 60% to say sell Salah this summer. That surprised me. I thought maybe it would have calmed down a little bit, because there was a lot of heated debate around Salah in the past few days because of the situation with Klopp on the sidelines and whatnot. And maybe I underestimated the strength of feeling of the Salah situation. So, let's talk wide forwards. Ooh, someone's saying penalty. Is there a penalty in the game? Oh, pen Bayern, is it? Pen for Bayern? Wow. That's Harry Kane territory there. Let us know how that gets on anyway. Thank you for the updates. Let's talk wide forwards. Because you guys have been asking quite a bit about who we'd bring in. And looking into this today, there are 2 players whose names are repeatedly coming up in any conversation around wide players. And that is Somerville from Leeds and Bakayoko from PSV Eindhoven. I don't know whether those will increase more so, because obviously Bakayoko playing in the Eredivisie, he's somebody Arne Slot would know. And Somerville, obviously being Dutch, again, somebody Arne Slot would know. So I don't know if this is starting to get a bit lazy with thinking he wants Dutch players around him, but they're the 2 strongest links that I've seen for Liverpool in wide players. Now, I don't know much about either, and that's where I'm coming unstuck here. I don't know how good Somerville is or how good Bakayoko is, because I have not watched much of Leeds United, and I definitely have not watched much of PSV Eindhoven. But that seems to be the 2 most likely candidates from the names that have been doing the rounds. Goal for Bayern. There you go. 2-1. Bayern have turned that one around a bit. Harry Kane with the goal. 2-1. That makes it very interesting indeed. Fair play to Bayern. I mean, to be fair, I never doubted. Once you said to me Bayern penalty and Kane was taking it, I never doubted he was going to score. In my head, I'd already thought, that's 2-1 Bayern then. So who's this one? We need a striking coach and a better set piece coach. Or we definitely need something to sort out set pieces, yes. We need to stop markings only as well, in my opinion, because it just absolves people of responsibility, and I don't like zonal marking. No player in the history of the football club in that position scored as many as Salah did. Good luck to find a replacement. And your point? Again, what is your point? I don't understand what you're trying to say. Did anybody say that we're going to go out there and sign somebody that's going to produce Salah numbers? I don't think anybody assumes that, mate. But football is a very much a what have you done for me lately business. And that's the fact of it, you know. It's difficult, it's harsh, it's maybe a bit shitty, but it is. You know, what you did 6-7 years ago buys you a bit of breathing room, but it doesn't change what you do now or what you may do next summer. And that would apply to anyone. I'm not just talking about Salah here, but this belief that Liverpool somehow owe Salah anything, I don't get that. I don't get it. I think it's been a good partnership for both parties. It's been good for Mo. It's been good for Liverpool. Mo's benefited financially. Liverpool have benefited from, no doubt, financially, and also with a great servant to the club. But you can't just keep throwing money at something forever if it's not working, or you can't just keep talking about this respect stuff again. It's football. It's ruthless. It is what it is, you know? So, again, I don't think anybody's expecting us to go out there and say, sign Bakayoko and for him to come in and score 52 goals in his first year. I don't think that's the case. I think we're just looking to get balance across the forward line and make sure that we're a bit more ruthless in the final third. And as much as I love Mo and I love a lot of the stuff he does, I also miss the days where he ran at people and he was able to take on players, because that's a very important part of being a wide player. And you have that with Diaz, but unfortunately Diaz doesn't have the finishing prowess of Mo. So it's kind of frustrating. We kind of have half of each, if you get me. So I'm just sad we don't see those slaloming runs from Mo anymore. And even as he's come back from this hamstring injury, which, by the way, you can't just ignore the hamstring injury, because a player who relies on pace, if hamstrings start acting up, that's a concern. Which is why, even looking at Olise, he's missed 195 days of football over the past year. So if he's having hamstring issues, and they were, another explosive player, but he's younger, having these hamstring issues, that would concern me. So that's where I'm at with the Salah situation. Is I think the correct option is new deal, less money. And if he doesn't take that, then I think you've got a decision to make about either letting him run down his contract or selling him. Enjoying your stream. Thank you, FP. Appreciate you, mate. Trevor said Nico Williams would be great. I like Nico Williams. I'm just sceptical of him leaving Bilbao. I know there's a release clause, I think somebody said, in his deal, but I'm a little bit sceptical about him leaving Bilbao. No, Dave. Nico absolutely didn't play for us, mate. And you've spelt the player you're talking about wrong. Neco Williams played for us. Nico Williams plays for Athletic Club Bilbao with his brother Iñaki. Kofi said, recalling your comment from earlier, I hope Arne does not go back to his former club for players. I don't mind one, Kofi, mate. I don't mind one. For instance, and I guess you've segued me rather nicely, my friend, into a conversation around that one player, because Marcel van der Kraan, who is a Dutch football expert and somebody who was spot on with his comments about the likelihood of Arne Slot coming to Liverpool, well, he's been speaking a little bit as well, and he believes that Geertruida is over 50% likely to make the move to Anfield along with Arne Slot. He said, I think the chance that Geertruida will join there or will go there is greater than 50%. Now, I don't mind one player like that. I don't mind one player that the manager knows that he can trust coming in to be versatile or to help out across the back line. But I don't want it to become a constant theme. I think that's one of the things that I think Ten Hag has done poorly. Is he over-analysed the players he'd already worked with and believed that they come good in a league where a lot of them just haven't. So, yeah, I don't mind one, but I don't want it to become a constant theme, Kofi. What do you guys think, though? Geertruida, yay or nay? If you were Michael Edwards right now, would you be looking to... He's 23 years of age, so right age profile. Like Joe Gomez, from what I understand, he's very versatile, can play right across the back line and as a DM. So I have no problem with a versatile defender being brought in, regardless of where they come from, if they're the right fit. Great cover, Craig. My brother and I love your podcast. Thank you. I appreciate you guys listening, watching, and I hope you continue to enjoy it. Okay, so Stefan, and I love the way you're helping me out, bro, again. Thank you, mate. I'm always up for pronunciation help, Stefan. So it's Gistuda? Gistuda? Mate, do you know what I mean? My pronunciation's shocking, bro. Yeah, so any phonetical help you can give me there, Stefan, is very much appreciated, mate. Who do I want to win the playoffs in the Championship? Leeds. I like Leeds being in the Prem. I like having another set of fans that have as much dislike for the Manx as I do. Respectfully, I should say. You know, I've respect for United, but sporting rivalry, and I want them to do poorly. So yeah, I like Leeds to come back up. I'd also think it would help us probably move a player or two on as well. Damien said, buy one player from Slot's old team. Asif said, I love this channel. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate all of you for giving up your time. Even tonight in the Champions League night, we've still got over 1,000 people in the chat and Champions League semi-final night. Honestly, I thought there was going to be like 300 or 400 people in tonight. So, poll for Geertruida. Should we go to poll then? Because, you know, we do love a bit of democracy here on Anfield Agenda. So, how do I spell this gentleman's name? Geeor Truida. Truida. Right, so should we sign Geertruida? Yay or nay? I will leave that in your capable hands. Kofi, thank you, sir, has gifted 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. Very kind of you, Kofi. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Dark Ruby, don't worry, my friend. I'll go through the news for you again. There's still loads of stuff I haven't covered yet tonight. And you know me, I'll be on here for a while yet, so we'll go through it all. I thought we had a young Williams at right back. We did, Dave, but it's not. It was Nico Williams was spelled differently to the Nico Williams of it was Neko for us, Nico for Bilbao. I think there's an A and an E and an I in the difference. And we did. Sure, he plays for Forest, and I still to this day feel that was just unlucky for Nico Williams. You know, I look at Nico Williams and I think Bradley might have just got a little bit more fortunate in the timing of his opportunities, and now I think Bradley will end up being what we thought Nico Williams may have become, because I don't think anybody really doubted that Nico was good enough, you know, in the Prem. It was just he wanted to play football, and I totally understand that. You'll never find me criticising a player who wants to go and play football. FH2109 said Geertruida is a beast. I mean, the poll so far looks overwhelming in favour of signing him. ML, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, bro. Thank you. We still have Ramsey as well to come back. Absolutely. It's been a very unfortunate time for Calvin Ramsey. You know, we didn't really get a chance to look at him properly before he went out, and those loans and then the injury. So yes, we still have him as an option as well. No doubt about that. We still have Luke Chambers as a young option on the left-hand side as well. Adel Abbas said, Craig, we love you. Well, it is mutual, my friend. It is right back at you guys as well. I know I can be cranky, by the way. I know. So to our friend Stephen earlier on that, I know I can be cranky, but I just don't like negging because I don't understand what it brings. You know, the internet is just full of people who just come on to try and shit all over everybody's opinions, but never put forward anything to counter it. So I've no problem with somebody disagreeing with me, with the chat, or with a viewpoint, but I'd like them to express why and not just, you know, undermine people by saying, stupid opinion, you're a clown, he's a clown, you're all clowns. You know, it doesn't benefit anyone. And I don't like people being negative to other people, because I know enough people that can go downhill very quickly from a bit of negativity. And I also know that a bit of positivity could be a little difference maker in somebody's day. And there's been times on here where I've come on and I've been feeling a bit sorry for myself, or I haven't been great, and I got some kindness in the chat, and then all of a sudden, bang, I feel like $1 million again and I'm away to go. So I always try to just if possible, little nice word, little kind word, little encouragement. So that's what we want going on in the chat as well. So appreciate you all for understanding. Watching from the gym today. Gym? I don't know about no gym. My wife goes to one of those gym places as well, mate. Not for me. I'm too lazy. Craig, out of our academy players, young players, who are your top 3 standouts? So, I mean, where do we draw the line? Like, are we still talking about Bradley and Kwanzaa as academy players? Or are we talking, you know, Trent Doherty, Musialowski, those type? It depends where we draw the line, really. He is an international for the Dutch, said Stefan. Yes, look, Stefan, everything I've read about him is positive. Some Dutch football expert believe that he's more than capable to come across to the Prem. I just don't know anything about him, is my honest answer. Oh yeah, Mark, I did see that about Fulham. I'm not sure if you guys seen this, but Fulham have been punished by the Premier League for breaching registration rules following the transfer of Fabio Carvalho to Liverpool. Basically, they got punished because they paid a club a commission, not a commission, a sell-on. And apparently they I don't know, that it wasn't agreed by the Premier League or something like that. It's nothing too dramatic, but there has been something doing the rounds today about Fulham getting a suspended academy ban or something like that, and a £75,000 fine. Nothing too earth-shattering. Right, so here's wasteful Liverpool and the big chances that somebody asked about earlier on. Mark has been an absolute legend and gone and found this on BBC. So, big chances missed versus goals scored. Our 3 top attackers. Darwin Nunez, 26 big chances missed, has scored 11 goals. Mohamed Salah, 13 big chances missed, has scored 17 goals. Luis Diaz, 12 big chances missed, and has scored 8 goals. So, as you can see, Darwin has twice as many as Salah. Salah and Diaz close enough to each other, but the real outlier there is Darwin Nunez, who is second only behind Erling Haaland for the amount of missed chances so far. Is Geertruida a left back, right back, or centre back? He can be a right back, a centre back, a defensive midfielder. Think of him as another Joe Gomez, basically. From what I understand. Sorry, I'm saying this like I know him inside out. I don't. So, we did ask, do you think he's good enough? And you said yes. 75% of you guys think it's the right signing. Can you make a vid on keep, sell or extend contract where you go through all the players on the list? It'll be a long video, but I will be doing something at the end of the campaign where I'm going to go on and I'm going to give every player in the squad a score out of 10 for the season. And we're going to talk about their future very quickly through it as well. So I will be doing something along those lines, yes. Oh, Ipswich are 2-1 up. Congratulations to them. It's not over yet, but 2-1 up in that game, meaning they're closing in on promotion. Right, so for the next few minutes, let's have a conversation around DMs, because I need to be educated. Talk to me about DMs that Liverpool could look for in this market. Realistic ones now. You know, I'm thinking if we're to go out there and look for a defensive midfielder, you're talking about an age profile of 20 to 24, most likely for me. Budget-wise, I honestly don't know. I would hope that we could have a significant budget. You know, I'm not expecting Caicedo numbers. I'm not expecting 115 million, but give me some names, because I'm struggling on this position. You know, we can talk about wide players now, but I'm struggling in midfield. So give me some realistic DMs. Couple of shouts for Andre in there. I mean, yeah, his whole situation's gone really quiet at Fluminense. Kone, do we go back a Asif and revisit that Manu Kone? Who's still at Borussia Mönchengladbach to the best of my knowledge. Locatelli. Is he still at Juventus, Locatelli? I haven't really followed him since the Euros. Mats Wiefer, said Brian Kay. Varela, Thuram, Wiefer and Andre, said the Red Machine. Going big, Bruno Guimaraes, 100 million clause. Oh, on that actually, while we're talking about that, can I sort of call out the Echo a little bit here? So I read an article earlier on. I was on the Echo flicking through, because every day I go through the Echo, I go through the Athletic, I go through all the Liverpool outlets. And I read a headline earlier on that kind of took me by surprise. So the headline reads, Liverpool could sign Bruno Guimaraes for just £32 million after clause confirmed. And I'm thinking, huh? Sure, I heard the clause was 100 million and it was only valid for a very brief window. So I clicked in, I read the article, and it is one of the few times I'm going to say that was clickbait crap. The article basically said that yes, Liverpool or anybody could sign him, but it'll be 100 million and 32 million would be the first instalment of 3, as is laid out in the clause. So it was a bit disingenuous from the Echo to say Liverpool could sign Bruno Guimaraes for just 32 million. It's just not true. It's 32 million for the first instalment of 3. So it'll be 100 million. And I just don't think he's a £100 million footballer. I just don't. I think there are far better options out there for a lot less money than Bruno Guimaraes. So I don't think Liverpool should spend 100 million quid on him. What happened to the Thuram links from Nice? I don't know, but interestingly, if I remember correctly, John, wasn't he represented by Pimenta, the same agent who represents... Is it Arne Slot? Rafaela Pimenta represents somebody we've been looking at or dealing with lately. And if I remember correctly, I think Rafaela Pimenta was also the agent for Kefren Thuram, if my memory's right. A PayPal boy. Yeah, a bit of a Klarna one there. Yeah, you can have him in 3 installments. Coop Miners is another name coming from the chat. Decore from Helix is another name being mentioned. Craig, you need to watch the video. The Merseyside monster who drove Klopp out. It's very interesting. Well, where is the video? And that'll tell me whether I'll watch it or not. So, yeah, I need context on the video before I watch it. It is the same agent as Arne Slot. Yeah, so then maybe, we certainly would have an in there, right? If Arne Slot's coming to Liverpool, then we'd have an in. But I haven't heard any links back to Kefren Thuram, if I'm being honest, nor have I followed him this season with Nice. Ederson from Atalanta, said Connor. What do you think of that Jordan Henderson guy from Ajax? Rings a bell, mate. Not sure. Rings a bell, though. I think briefly remember something about him. Edson Alvarez is another few shouts. I miss our Brazilian octopus. Yes. A prime Fabinho was top notch. Absolutely. One position we haven't spoken about, and I'm not, by the way, ignoring. Sangara's another shout in there. I'm not ignoring the midfield stuff, but I forgot to mention that Liverpool have been linked with a move for James Trafford as well, if we do look to make additions to the goalkeeping department this summer. So if Kelleher leaves, as an example, it looks like Liverpool are keeping an eye on the Burnley goalkeeper, 21 years of age. Now, my question is, do Man City have a buyback clause on James Trafford? Because if my memory's right, I think he came from City to Burnley. But him and the Sunderland keeper are the only 2 real names I'd seen mentioned with regards to goalkeeping options for Liverpool, if indeed Kelleher is to depart. David said we should have got Rice. I think he wanted to stay in London. From everything I read, he just wanted to stay in London. So whether that was Chelsea, Arsenal, it just felt like he wanted to stay there. Should we start Gakpo at left wing? What do you do with Diaz then? I think he can be an option for left wing, but I think sometimes the directness and the energy of Lucho is really beneficial as well. By the way, I've made my decision on Darwin Nunez. I've been sitting on the fence on this, and I've been openly sitting on the fence on it. So I've made my decision on Darwin Nunez. I'm not ready to sell him. I'm not. 1 more year minimum. Because I do think he's worth the effort. I could be deluded here, but I feel like you can get that 20% out of him. That last little bit, you can unlock a lot. And I feel like he has to have a purple patch. And it would kill me if we sold him and he went elsewhere and start lighting it up. So I'm willing to go another season anyway. And hope that new coach, maybe a little freshen up on the training ground. I just can't bring myself to say sell him. I can't. I think he has to have another year. His ceiling is so damn high that I think it would be... Look, as I've always said, and I'm not going to jump down somebody's throat, I've always said I can understand the other side of the argument as well. I get he's frustrating. Personally, I'm just not. I can't. I want to give him 1 more year. Why do I think FSG are cheap? I think it's fairly self-explanatory, mate. Look at our net spend. And actually, do you know what? Let's have a look at this, actually. I've got a bit of a stat here. So, our squad costs in the Premier League, if you look into amortised transfer fees, agent payments and wage bill, the stats from the 2022-23 season see Chelsea at the very top of that, Manchester City next, Manchester United next, and then Liverpool come in on 4th. And Liverpool's wage bill has gone up over the past few years. But what we spend on transfers and our net spend is just not acceptable. And that's why I say they're cheap. Because let's look at what happened with Caicedo. We went in for a £150 million player. Okay, we lost out to Chelsea. And then we went and spent 18.5 million quid on a player. And it happens time and time again. They just don't give the managers enough to realistically compete. So I do think that they're cheap. It doesn't mean that they haven't done some stuff right. But I don't feel like they are giving the manager every chance to win and succeed. And maybe under Jurgen Klopp, you could gloss over that a little bit because of Klopp's management, his ability to rise the troops. I feel like in a new coach, we need to start and give this coach a good foundation to go from. And that will involve putting the hand in the pocket. So that's why I think they're cheap. You can look at the other things, and people talk to me about capital projects like the Annie Road end, the main stand, the training ground. They're all great, but they're also adding value to the business. So it's fairly obvious stuff to do, If you bought a house and the estate agent said to you, if you threw an extension on that and the extension cost you 30 grand, the house would go up 50 grand. You'd put the extension on, right? So I just want them to... I want them to spend more on transfers. I've got no problem with the wage structure at the club. I've no problem with that. But I do have a problem with telling us we can compete with the Manchester Uniteds of this world whilst not paying the type of fees that are often needed to bring in a player. Like, we brought in Virgil van Dijk and Alisson Becker, and we all know why and where the money came from. The Coutinho sale. Other than that, Salah came in on a very FSG type of fee, around 36, 38 million quid. And the only outlier, I guess, was probably Darwin. Because that was a bit of a punt at up to €100 million when all the clauses were paid. So yeah, I just think they're cheap. Now, I'm happy to put a poll up if you think I'm wrong. Maybe I am. But my view is I think FSG are cheap. So let's ask, are FSG cheap? I'm going to put it to a poll, and you guys can have your say on it, which is, I think, fair enough. So are FSG cheap? Yes or no? Oh, 2-2. 2-2 in that game. Vinicius Jr. penalty makes it Desmond. Would I give Dan's more minutes? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't see why not. Give him half an hour. Especially the last day of the season against Wolves. I feel like it would be a lovely passage through to the next. We're saying goodbye to Jurgen. Let's bring through the next generation that day as well. Any new ideas coming in the summer, Craig, or any new projects? We were talking about top of the league today and what do we do with that. In the summer, we're going to cover the Euros, but we're going to cover it from a Liverpool perspective. So we're going to cover games that Liverpool players were involved in. So that's what we'll be doing over the summer. We'll be talking transfers. At the moment, I'm almost scared to take my eye off the ball with Anfield Agenda and do anything else, because we've had an incredible few months with the channel. We are outperforming consistently channels with a way bigger subscriber base than us. And I'm talking big boy channels. And I'm very proud of where we are. And I don't want to take my eye off the ball. So I'm really laser focused on what we're doing here. And my idea would be to helpfully try and build Anfield Agenda out with a few other bits and pieces. Now, when you see the tech that we have being developed behind the scenes, you'll see where some of our time and efforts have gone to. So with our match day clocks and scoreboards now as an example, we're going to have the ability to put up on screen the amount of additional time. We're going to have the ability to let you know which player's been booked, when they've been booked. We're going to have the ability to drop and drag players around to talk about formations. We're going to have the ability to click on a player for me and bring up the stats of that player in a game. We're going to have the ability to tell you when a goal is scored, when a decision's gone to VAR. All this stuff is back-end stuff that we're having developed at the minute that we've been trialling and looks really cool. And I think it's going to make us stand out even more next season from the rest of the content creators out there. And that's where we've been investing our time and money. Gertrude at 25 million and Pancho to have the defence and Nico Williams right wing. Nico can play left wing. I think he is ideal due to his abilities. Thoughts, said Jack Nickel. So I don't know much about the first two, mate. I know somebody told me yesterday Pancho was, a Frankfurt midfielder or something. Gertrude looks like he could be a good option at a relatively reasonable fee. And Nico Williams I've always liked, but I just have my doubts about whether you'd be able to get him out of Athletic Club, where of course his brother and his family are pretty settled. But I wouldn't be against it. Craig, the Klopp video is on an account called... Okay, I'll try my best to remember to give it a review, Angie. Okay, thank you very much. That sounds awesome, guys. Thank you, TB. Yeah, look, we've really been working in hand with our friends at Lineup Builder to get this stuff done, and that's what we keep doing behind the scenes. We keep trying to make sure that we can make shows more interactive for you, that we can get you guys involved in match days a lot more. Everything I do here, I think about it from a perspective of how can we get you guys involved. Because I don't like it all being about me and my voice. I want to get your voices, your opinions, your thoughts. Who, in your opinion, was the best captain of Liverpool ever? I have no right to speak about ever. Because, I don't know, how Crazy Horse led the team as an example. But what I can say in my lifetime... it has to be Gerrard. I mean, what Jordan Henderson accomplished was phenomenal. And I thought Jordan Henderson was a really good captain. To take over from Steven Gerrard, I think we had a good leader. And I've always said that about Henderson. Whatever you think about the man, whether he was good enough to play in midfield as long as he did or not, as a leader, I thought he was exceptional. I thought he represented the club with dignity, and I always thought he was a great captain. But Gerrard... it's impossible for me to look past Stevie G. Istanbul tells you everything. The FA Cup final, he just made it happen. So in my lifetime, I'd have to say Gerrard. Pancho's a defender. Sorry, Sergio. And here was me getting cocky, mate, Remember the Frankfurt part and getting excited about it, but there you go. Trafford came from Bolton. But I believe he's, again, I'm open to be correct on this, but didn't he come through the Manchester City Academy? I'm almost certain James Trafford came through City's Academy, but if I'm wrong on that, fair enough. I thought I heard something about that when he was signing for Burnley. I know Bazunu came through the City Academy, so maybe I'm getting my wires crossed there. You know, Bazunu went to Southampton, but I swear there was something about Trafford and City, but maybe I'm wrong. Should we sign a superstar winger or a Project Young winger? A Project Young winger, definitely. You know, I think when you're talking about attackers, always better to go young, because you've got the explosive pace that you does tail off a little bit when you start to get to 28, 29, 30. So I think young, hungry, fearless winger. So the chat are saying yes, he did come through the Manchester City Academy before he went on to Burnley. He was on loan at Bolton apparently, and then City sold to Burnley. So there you go. I knew there was something about it, but I guess my question was: is there a buyback clause? You know, I did ask that earlier on. I don't remember if you guys answered it or not, because I was probably distracted. But yeah, I like Trafford. I do. I like James Trafford. I think he's a good young goalkeeper. I don't know much about the kid. Is it Pattinson or Patkinson or something from Sunderland? Don't know much about him, but he's another one that we've been linked with. Craig, FSG are happy to sit mid-table just as long as the club pays for itself. I hope not, because that's annoying, right? Because the problem we have is that it does seem that once you stay semi-competitive, the valuations of the clubs in England just keep going up and up and up and up. And the last thing that we should accept as fans is the owners treading water because the value of the assets going up and up and up. We, I believe, should have every right to expect that the owners want to win. And they'll say they want to win. Publicly, of course, they're going to say they want to be competitive and they want to win. But do you really? Do you really want to win? I've always had some doubts about that. I think they wanted to win the first European Cup. I think they wanted to win the league title, much like they did when they broke the curse of the Bambino with the Red Sox. But do they want sustained success? Are they going to be as ruthless as possible to do that? I've always felt no is the answer there. So, back to the poll where we said, are FSG cheap? 86% said yes, FSG are cheap. Craig, your channel's the #1 Liverpool channel on YouTube, in my opinion. Watch all your lives and videos. Was always your dream to do this? To do YouTube? No. Stumbled into it. My dream was to do a podcast. And podcasts led to YouTube, and YouTube has been amazing. I mean, I love it. I love that I get to chat and interact with people every night. And with regards to us being the #1 channel, we are. I mean, Red Men have more subscribers than us, but we get double the amount of views each month that they do on YouTube. Don't need to take my word for that. You can search Social Blade yourself. So we are the #1, and it's incredibly humbling and an incredible responsibility to make sure that we keep doing you guys justice, that we keep remembering what side our bread's buttered on. And I'll never forget that I'm only here. I only get the chance to do this because of you. So it's always at the forefront of my thoughts, mate. But thank you. The ref tonight has been great. Didn't use VAR once, said Whitehammer. Road to 1 million. Yeah, I don't know. I've never known if we'll get anywhere near that. Like, I'm trying to think what our ceiling as a channel is, and I really don't know. I think we could probably... I just don't know. Like, I always looked at it like this. Redmen TV were the first fan channel, if I'm not mistaken. At least they were a very early adopter of fan channels. And if in their entirety of a time making content, they haven't got to 1 million, I don't know if it's possible for a Liverpool channel to get to 1 million. So I really don't know what the future is. And by the way, I didn't say that in any way to neg on Redmen TV. I was just pointing out that they were early adopters, and we have a United channel that's at 1 million. You have an Arsenal channel that's at 1 million, but we don't have a Liverpool channel that's at 1 million. I've always wondered why that is, you know? Certainly not because we don't have a big enough club or we don't have enough fans around the world. So yeah, I've always wondered what the ceiling would be for Anfield Agenda. You know, is it maybe we get near 500,000 and then we peter off? I have no idea, but I know I want to find out. I'm from Newcastle and support, or excuse me, I'm from Wicklow and support Newcastle. Rage and Kelleher as a sub. On the Kelleher situation, do you guys think that it was the right call to immediately put Alisson back in goal as soon as he became fit again? Now, I'm not talking about longer term here. I'm not trying to say Kelleher's a better keeper than Alisson. But I'm saying that Kelleher was in good form, and I don't know. I'm hearing mixed things from people. Some people feel, yes, of course, give Alisson the jersey immediately. Others were thinking, no, you know, Alisson longer term will be the number one, but keep Kelleher in form, doing well, let him keep going. And I can understand that as well. But longer term, look, Alisson's the guy. Alisson's the number one in the world, in my opinion. But I've always said the same thing. I believe in the power of rewarding somebody who takes an opportunity. And Kelleher stepped up and was very consistent in his time as being number one. So it feels very harsh when your number one comes back and immediately takes the shirt. Same at right back. Bradley stepped up, took his opportunity when it was handed to him. Kwanzaa stepped up, took his opportunity when it was handed to him. I know goalkeeper's a little bit different because there's only one keeper out there, but I don't know what the answer is. I'm not saying it's right or wrong either way. I'm just genuinely worried genuinely interested in what you think. So, Team Shark Meg said yes, it was. The reason your channel is so good is you're so down to earth. I don't see why I wouldn't be, though, to be honest, mate. You know, I don't understand people that have an ego in what we do. I get to talk about footy as a fan, and that's all I am. I'm a football fan. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a pundit. I'm a football fan, and I'm lucky. So I'll never get arrogant because I know how lucky I am. So anyway, back to this. Yes, it was the right decision, said Aaron. No, said Doreen. No, said Jonathan. He had a bad game against Atalanta. Yeah, no, to be fair, he did. He did make a couple of errors. Yeah, I'm not going to push back against that. He did. Wizardly Toil said yes. Clint said Kelleher will want to go someplace. I think he will. And I understand it. I do. I understand if Creevy wants to move on. I've no questions or qualms about it. You know, he's a young goalkeeper. He doesn't want to sit on the bench for his career. It's like I said about Nico Williams earlier on. I'd never ever question a player who wants to play. When did you start this channel? I think we registered the channel in, I want to say December 2017. But I think it was April when we started really putting out content on the channel. So probably 2018, early 2018. And it's crazy because we worked probably 4.5-5 years before any type of revenue started to really come through. So it was a passion project for those times. And it's weird because I don't know if other content creators have ever talked about this, but when you start out, at least for me, you had that freedom of, I'll say what I want. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about being demonetized. You don't have to worry about backlash. You don't have to worry about being cancelled. Just like, I'll say what I want. I'll have my view. And you do that. And as your channel grows older and you start to see revenue go up, the pressure comes up because now it's, if I shit the bed, I'm ruining 3 people's jobs. Stopping somebody from paying their mortgage, and then you're second guessing yourself. Can I still be me? Can I be honest? How do I phrase things? Can I swear? All these things go through my head every single month, and it's so difficult to just keep being me because I'm the type of dude who will say some stupid shit. I will. It's just the way I'm wired, and I don't want to ruin what we've built. But I can't, I do second guess myself. It's difficult. It's difficult because you've nothing to lose when you start. But now I've got a potential future, right? I never thought I'd be a homeowner. Now I have a chance to maybe buy a home. I never thought I'd amount to much in life, but now I have a chance, and I don't want to shit the bed. I don't know. I've wondered, have others spoken about it, because I've not really seen much on the subject. Craig, I remember your first stream. I think it was pre-season 2018, Liverpool versus Man City, when we won 2-1. I don't remember what the first stream was. I remember the first content going up was when me and Connor were over in Liverpool, and we went to the screening of the Manchester City away leg of the quarter-final. And that was amazing. So I think that was the first bit of content we put up. Do I meditate? I don't meditate, but I do practice mindfulness, which I guess you could probably say is a form of meditation. I have, before I start to stream, I do certain things. I make sure my breathing is regular and I'm calm. I do center myself, but I wouldn't say I know how to meditate. I'm not sure Trafford would want to come sit on the bench, said Sergio, which is a fair point, mate. What do you think of Kefren Thuram? I think he'd be perfect 6. We were very close to signing him at some point recently. I wouldn't mind revisiting Kefren Thuram. I don't know how his season has gone. So anyway, sorry, FSG are cheap. I forgot to end that poll. I get that's a very valid point, Sergio. Trafford's playing at the moment. He's at Burnley. He's playing week in, week out. So I do understand exactly where you're coming from. Are you staying until 10:30? I feel like I am, yeah. I feel like I probably am. Would you stream any different games like the Premier League or Champions League? Probably, but my plan is build up Anfield Agenda. Hopefully raise my profile on Anfield Agenda. And as my profile raises, the other projects that I start to become involved in should hopefully rise up with it. So in the future, it's about timing though. I need to get it right. It was the celebrations after the Roma screen. There's Connor. Yes, there you go. I remember. I'll never forget Connor when we were there and the dudes jumping up on top of the bus and all. I mean, scenes when we were outside after that Roma game, it was incredible. Did you see Vinicius Junior's first goal where he dummies the defender and then scores? That's what I want Darwin to do. Yes, lovely ball through from Tony Kroos, and Vinicius Junior, keeper was coming out on him, and he does dummies him a little bit. Keeper goes and then side foots it past him. It was a good finish. Am I looking forward to the Euros? Don't know, Glenn. Obviously, Ireland have no involvement in it, but it's still summer football, and it's going to be interesting to see. So we'll be covering it. We'll be covering Liverpool players in the Euros, but I'm looking forward to it. It's football. Do you still do your other channel? Not at the moment, no. No, we just have Anfield Agenda and the Anfield Agenda Clips channel. The Clips channel is heading towards 30k, so that's doing really well. The other channel I want to do is a Craig Reviews channel, where Craig explain things. So Craig explains shrinkflation. Craig explains whatever. That's what I want to do, because I think I'm at my best making content when I'm emotionally invested in it. And when I do watch-alongs, let's say I've done that watch-along tonight of Bayern Real, I'm not the same person, because I don't care about the result. There's no Liverpool in it, so to me it's kind of, I just go through the motions, and I end up talking about food or chatting about holidays, so I want to do content that keeps me emotionally invested, and gadgets, food, Adidas stuff, they're the type of things that I feel like I can do justice to. Who's your second favourite club? Barcelona. Can we have a poll for number 6 signing in the summer? Who would most like? Sure, if you want to give me 4 options, absolutely. Rating food, a bit of everything. So definitely be some food. I still want to do Craig Snack Shack. We spoke about this before, where we set up a PO box and you guys send me your favourite snacks from, let's say, Denmark or Sweden or Australia. I do want to do that, Craig Snack Shack, definitely. I want to do Craig Reviews Gadgets, Craig Reviews Food, Craig Reviews whatever. Because I can get emotionally invested in that stuff because it sparks something in me. And I'm a passion merchant as a person. Does pineapple belong on a pizza? It belongs on it if you want it on it. You know, personally for me, I just eat really cheese pizza. Maybe ham. But if you think pineapple belongs on a pizza, you do you. I don't never understand that with people. Eat whatever makes you happy. If you like, I don't know, apple on a pizza, you do you. Oh, I'll send some broccoli. Come on now. Come on now. No, you can't include broccoli. Oh. Yeah, no broccoli, please. Right, so 4 options: Inacio, Somerville, Elise, or Guimaraes. Yeah, but they're all different positions. So here's some: Weaver, Kimmich, Varela, or a wild card. Right, let me get some options then. Okay, 1 second. So Weaver, Kimmich, Varela. Is there 1 L or 2 L's in Varela? Not Barella, Varela from Porto. I want to say it's 2, but not sure. A show called Craig doesn't do broccoli. Nobody should do broccoli. 1 L, thank you. Right, I need one more name. I need one more option for the poll. Oh, Thuram. Thuram probably a good option for the last one. But then we haven't put Kone in there. Kone or Thuram? Give me an option. Which one, real quick. Which one do you think I should put in? Kone or Thuram? Let me know. Thuram, Coop Miner, Thuram. Okay, Thuram it is. No problem. Right, cool. And by the way, we can have a part 2 of this poll like we did the other day. So we can do 4, then do another 4, and then do the top 2 from each poll into a final. So in another one we can do Kone. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to get this poll ready. No, I can't. Well, that one's up. Yeah, we'll do another one. So we'll do the top 2 in this. We'll put them into the final. And then we'll do another poll with another 4. And same again. We'll put the 4 into the final and go from there. Can't wait for Limelight. Oh, thank you for coming, my friend. I'm buzzing for the Belfast show. Really, really am. Can't wait. I'm really pleasantly surprised at how well Belfast is selling. And yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be good fun. We are a month away now. So yeah, going to be fun. Haven't been on Belfast in a while, so looking forward to it. How about the Corey? Yeah, we can put the Corey in for the next poll, mate. Just remind me when I'm doing out the second poll. I really don't like the kickoff Liverpool videos. They constantly undermine Klopp and they don't seem to rate his success. Klopp has had to work for his success with one arm behind his back, unlike Pep. Well, what I can say to you is, obviously, I know True Geordie, and I can say to you that he does have respect for Klopp's what he's achieved. Now, I'm not saying what way the videos come across or what, because I don't really pay attention, in all honesty. I do my own thing, and when I go on the kickoff, I go on the kickoff and talk with the guys and enjoy myself. But I don't keep up to track with anybody else's work, really. So I don't know what videos they're making or they aren't making. But I will always defend Jurgen Klopp's achievements if I'm on there or anywhere. So, yeah, look, I hate a Pep love in anywhere, but be it on Sky Sports or anywhere else. So, I'll always back Kloppo and defend his time at Liverpool because he's given me the best years of my life supporting Liverpool. Any meaning behind the tats? Not really. No. I've a couple. Like, I've got the 2 times of the day my kids were born, on one on each wrist. I've got the date I was married on the other side of one of my wrists. I've one on my leg that means something for me and Lucas on autism because we're both autistic. But other than that, no, there's no real meaning to them other than those little ones. But all the big sleeves and stuff, now I just say to my guy Andrew that does my tattoos, crack on, work away, like, and I usually like them when they're finished. Jordy from Kickoff hates Klopp. He doesn't. I know what you mean because he's gone in on him about his attitude and he thinks he might be arrogant and stuff. Fair enough on that, but I promise you, knowing Brian, he does rate Klopp's management. I can tell you that with no hesitation. I do think that Kloppo rubs him up the wrong way, and I've seen Brian have outbursts around Kloppo, but I tell you, I know for a fact that True Geordie does rate what what Klopp achieved with Liverpool. I know he does. But I've also seen, and I've been there when he's spoke about, Klopp's wound him up, definitely, but I promise you, he does respect what Jurgen Klopp has done at Liverpool. Finley Ears Guitar said, Craig, the other day, if you want Darwin as a super sub and you said no as we paid 100 million, I feel as we've already paid for him, I'd rather see us get the best out of him. Can we? Thoughts? So you probably missed me earlier on, Finley, but I did say that I'd finally come to a conclusion on what I think's the best thing for Darwin, and it's give him another year. I just feel like all the pieces are there, and if we give up on him now when he goes elsewhere and starts to produce, I think he one more year of seeing if we can get it out of him. New coach, new training methods. Let's see if we can turn it round for him. So yeah, one more year for me. Right, let's see the top two in this poll. So Kimmich and Thuram. So Kimmich and Thuram were the ones that go through. So give me an idea for poll number 2. We've got Kimmich and Thuram. I'm going to put these on my list so I don't forget them. So Kimmich and Thuram are into the final. Now, we need 4 more names for the other semi-final. So, Decore, right, 1 second. Let me add these names. Okay, so let's go. Decore, let me start with him. I'm most likely going to butcher the spelling of that dude's name, but so we've got, right, keeps them coming. Ugarte, I don't think's realistic. He already signed for PSG. I know you like those guys, they just frustrate me. Need a Liverpool fan on there to defend Liverpool and Klopp. Hope you're keeping well, mate. Of course, I do like them. They're lovely guys, and all I'll say is whenever I go over there, they only treat me with respect, kindness, and I couldn't but speak fondly of everybody involved with the kickoff. I think they're lovely people. But look, we don't always agree on sport and football, and I have my own thoughts, let's say, about Newcastle's assistant manager, which I'm sure would be different from Brian's thoughts about Newcastle's assistant manager, but look, it is what it is, you know. We all see football differently, so I respect your opinions as well, though, don't get me wrong. Right, Houlden, how do I spell that? Let me get that one. Is it M-O-N-D? M-U-N-D. Right, 2 more. Give me 2 more names. So I've got Hulman, Decore. I need 2 more names. Kone, probably another option. 1 more space. Who are we going for? Are we going balls out and going Frankie de Jong, or have we got somebody else in mind? Oh, Coop Miners. I feel Coop Miners needs to be in there, to be fair, because he's been strongly linked to us over the past few months. So I've got Decore, Hulman, Kone, and Coop Miners. Do you want me to take anybody out or change it around? Zubamendi is a name that's been mentioned quite a bit as well. I feel like I could easily put in Zubamendi, but who do we take out? I'll take out Kone and we'll go with Zubamendi. That makes more sense to me. Tchouameni, I don't know if he's realistic, mate. You know, we tried to get him already and Real wouldn't sell him. Varela, we've already put in the first poll, mate. He didn't make it through to the final. Coop Miners is in here. Neves, nah, he's too busy al-halaling it up over there in Saudi. So I need one more name. I've got Coop Miners, Decore and Hulman. They're the... Viva we've already done. Varela we've already done. Florentino Luis, good shout. Good shout. That's the one. I knew I was somebody. There you go. There you go. Florentino Luis is a great shout. Right, good shout. Right, there you go. So, second semi-final. So, Kimmich and Thuram are already through to the final vote. Now we've got Decore, Hulman, Florentino Luis and Coop Miners. Vote away. Oh, they probably mean João Neves from Benfica. Ah, you are probably right. Yes, sorry. You're probably right on that one. My mind went straight to Ruben Neves, but you're absolutely spot on about João Neves. Yes, sorry. What I'd seen about him, though, was that one, the release clause was like 120, I think, wasn't it, in euros? And also, does he have attitude issues or behind-the-scenes problems or something? Fidget. Craig, do you think Chelsea beat Spurs? You're capable of it, bro. Whatever, it depends what Chelsea show up, you know. I want Villa to get the Champions League spot. So, yeah, let's say you beat them. And then we'll beat them on Sunday. I do think you can, though, absolutely. Chelsea, on their day, if their players show up, they're a difficult team to play against. You know, as Man City found out on occasion, as we found out, it's just which Chelsea show up is the question. I'm glad we didn't sign Amrabat. Oh, the Red Machine. I can't say I disagree with you at all. I've been looking at him floundering around at United and thinking, this isn't the same Sofian Amrabat that we've seen with Morocco or even playing for Fiorentina. He looks lost at United. Am I confident for Spurs? I am if our forwards show up, because we'll get chances against Spurs. I'm sure we'll give them some as well. I think it's going to be a good attacking game. And if we show up and our forwards are on song, then yes, I think we can beat Spurs. It's at Anfield. There has to be a reaction at some point. It's Klopp's second to last game at home. We've got to go for it. We've got to go for it. I think there's going to be lots of goals in the game. I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. But we've got to do it. Oh, and on that, anybody want to guess who the referee is for the game against Spurs? You know, it's like the PGMOL couldn't resist having one last dig at Jurgen. Referee for the game against Spurs, Paul Tierney. Assistant, Scott Ledger and Matt Wilkes. Fourth official, Tom Bramall. And VAR, John Brooks. They just had to get Tierney in there one more time, didn't they? They had to just squeeze in Tierney one more time. I hope Klopp absolutely tears him to shreds. I hope at the end of the game, Klopp has a little word in his ear, a little whisper in his ear, and say, do you know what, Tierney? You're a prick. Because he is. I don't care if I get in trouble for saying that. I hate him. And nobody will ever convince me he hasn't intentionally shafted us. So if I was Klopp, I know I'd certainly have a little word for him. Love from Pakistan. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. What about a channel for all sports like F1, rugby, boxing? That's what Top of the League was, mate. Top of the League was never going to be just a football channel. It was going to roll out into other types of content. Right, let's have a look at this poll anyway before we finish up with the last poll of the night. Oh, interesting, this one. So, Decore and Coop Miners are so far leading. No, they're not. Florentino Luis and Coop Miners, sorry, are leading this poll. So we'll end this one because I don't think you can catch them two. So Coop Miners and Florentino Luis will join Kimmich and Thuram in the final. So the final, I love that, like, we actually think we're doing this. You know, we've made the decision who we're signing here. Right, let's get cracking with the final. So we've got the Core. So Coop Miners and Florentino Luis. Okay, so let's start with that. Coop Miners. Nope, spelling that wrong, Craig. Florentino Luis. Adoption, Kimmich. And the last one is Thuram. Right, so the final. This decision's on you guys. Who should we sign? Coop Miners, Florentino Luis, Kimmich, or Thuram? Over to you guys to decide who Liverpool should be buying for our defensive midfield reinforcement in the summer. Oh, Musiala will be amazing, Nanso. I love Musiala, but I don't think there's any chance. Andre from Fluminense. I feel like that ship, Saif, may have sailed. We were talking about him actually the other night, mate, and it was a strange one because at one point there was like a race to sign him and everybody was waiting, and then nothing. And it's weird. So I don't know what's going on with Andre. I have a sneaking suspicion he may end up somewhere in Italy, but let's wait and see. None, Douglas Luis. Well, firstly, Villa aren't going to sell. Secondly, they'd want upwards of 100 million quid. So it's not realistic, you know. Villa aren't going to want to sell to us, especially if they get into the Champions League. I just don't see it as being an option, unfortunately. A couple of seasons ago, us and Arsenal looked like we were interested when his Villa deal was coming to an end, but he signed a new deal and his form has certainly picked up and he's been brilliant, but I don't think it's realistic. Coop Miner's not a DM. Kimmich too old. Again, Elijah, I'm just doing what I'm asked, bro. You know, don't shoot the messenger. All I'm doing here is putting up the options that everybody asked for. And remember, Coop Miners could be a DM. He could be a double pivot. He could be anything. Anybody can be anything with it to some extent. But I'm just going up what people have suggested, mate. We went through a load of names. We went through, picked out 8, put them in, and you guys voted away. Off-White said, just joined. Hope you're good. I am, thank you. How long should we give Nunez? At least another year. Yeah, I'm not ready to give up on him yet. I sat on the fence for about a week or two on this one, but after thinking it all through, I think you got to back him for one more year. Because it would kill me if we sold him, let's say, to... I don't know, I'm picking a name out of a hat here. Let's say we sold him to Juventus, just as an example, and we see him scoring 35 goals in Serie A next season. It would... Oh, that'd be tough to stomach. It would. So I think we've got to persist. New coach, new training methods, maybe some fresh ideas, and hope that we can get him to explode, do well, you know, hit the heights we know he's capable of. New kit out soon. Oh, the new kits, they look disgusting. The keeper's kit looks alright. The home kit, I don't like at all. The white kit, the away one, I think has lots of potential, but that sideways tick does my head in. And the third kit, I don't understand what the hell it is. 3 different colours on it. None of it makes any sense to me. I'm sure they'll all look better in person than they do in the footy headlines images and stuff, where, you know, they're just mock-ups of them, but it's, yeah, I don't like them. I can't wait to get rid of Nike and welcome Adidas back. If performances don't improve, we're going to hold a bad one against either Spurs or Villa. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Like, I can't sit here and confidently say we're going to go and trounce Spurs because I don't know which Liverpool are going to show up. I'm hopeful, is all I'm going to say. Of course, the game at Villa Park is a Monday night game as well, which will be interesting. And, we thought that Spurs were going to have a big part to play in the championship race. And I guess they do because they still have to play City. But we also have a big part to play now in the race for the Champions League spot because, we've got to play Spurs and Villa. And both of them are pushing for that last spot. So we've got quite a big role to play as well there. Show us the new home kit. Let me see if I've got this image. 1 second. 1 second, folks. I don't know if I still have the images Connor sent me earlier on. Right. I'll put this up on screen. It's from Footy Headlines. These are the 4. There you go. So, the one in the top left corner is obviously supposed to be the home shirt. The one on the right hand side would be the third shirt. It has black, teal and grey on the collar. And the white one is going to be the away shirt. And I don't understand why the Nike tick is sideways. Then, on the bottom right hand corner, you've got the goalkeeper shirt. I don't mind the goalkeeper shirt. I think that's okay. But those 3 shirts to me look like a whole load of crap. And I won't be spending money on any of them. I got to be honest with you. It looks horrible. The white one I think has the potential. The white kit there, I think that has potential, but I don't understand the tick being sideways. So, they're the ones that have been doing the rounds. Let's wait and see. I'm sure they'll all look a slight bit better when the official ones are released, but I've got to say I'm not holding out much hope for those kits. If that's the last set of jerseys from Nike, then good riddance as far as I'm concerned. So let's have a look at the poll anyway and see how we're getting on. Oh, wow. Genuinely surprised at who's leading that poll. The away shirt looks like United's away shirt. Yeah, red, black, white would remind you of United. I can get that. So again, anybody who's coming in talking about Coop Miners this or that, we picked out 8 names that you guys suggested and I threw them into the chat. Don't think too deep about it. He ain't winning anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Do I have an email? Yes, Evie. If you want to email me directly, what's the best way to do? Yeah, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. Contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. And that will find its way to me eventually. So yes, Evie, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. Napopu, Craig, appreciate you so much, man. These daily streams are such a part of my day. Pleasure, dude. Pleasure. It's equally as part of my day. It's a huge part as well. So I'm delighted to be here with you all. What would you be doing if you weren't doing this channel? Honestly, I think I'd have went back to college. Yeah, I think I regret I never got the opportunity to go to college because of family situation when I was younger. So I probably would have went back to college if I wasn't doing the channel. Do you think we sign Somerville? I think there's a chance we do, but I don't know definitively if we would or wouldn't. He's just definitely on the list. Love Craig from South Africa. Thank you, Mohammed. Appreciate you, mate. What did you do before Anfield Agenda? Different bits and pieces, mate. I worked as a taxi driver at one point. I worked in a cafe. I worked in a supplements and nutrition business, memorabilia, managed the car park, loads of different things. No direction though. in life, really. I often wonder what would have happened if I did get a chance to go to university and stuff, how my life would have went out, but no point looking backwards, is there? Gotta look forward. I'd love going into a cafe and seeing Craig. I really enjoyed it, to be fair. It was I worked for it was about 3.5 years with a group of cafes and enjoyed it. Really good people to work for. Always treated me really well. Very rewarding job. Yeah, it was good. It was fun. I'm excited for this new chapter, but scared for it. So look, let's see who won the poll. Joshua Kimmich wins with 35%. So if you guys had the transfer reins at Liverpool, you would be signing Joshua Kimmich. And there you go. I can understand that, but it still surprises me. Going to Bruce Springsteen on the final day of the season in Croke Park. Not my cup of tea, but appreciate the catalogue and work of Bruce Springsteen. He's never been somebody whose music I really took to, but I can absolutely understand the appeal. And what a gig that's going to be as well, mate. So well in. Saif said, personal opinion, play from the Dutch league to big teams don't work for some reason. Most of Ajax 18-19 squad hasn't lived up to their potential. So there are cases that haven't worked, but for every ones that haven't worked as well, there's a Luis Suarez, there's a Ruud van Nistelrooy, there's what was your man's name as well that came in? Fucking hell. Who am I trying to think of here? The guy who was at Arsenal and then United. How have I forgotten his name already? There are examples of players coming well from the Dutch league as well, but I get where you're coming from. Yeah, Robin van Persie, thank you. I was gone blank for a sec. So there's Van Persie, there's Van Nistelrooy, Suarez came in, did okay. Overmars, didn't he come in from the Dutch league as well? Yeah, I mean, I think there's pretty good Dirk Kuyt, yes. Sami Hyypiä, you know, think back to Big Sammy. We brought him in from the Dutch league. I'm not sure where Yap Sam came from, to be honest, mate, when he came in. When Yaldum, yeah, came into Newcastle from the Dutch league. Bergkamp as well. I mean, there are plenty of great examples of players who have worked from the Eredivisie, but I also understand your point. It can be a bit scattergun at times. Being a recluse, Anfield Agenda is my venture into the world. Well, I'm pretty much of a recluse myself, mate, to be honest with you. So you're in good company. So Gary O'Neill has been banned from the touchline for Wolves' next game and given an £8,000 fine because of his comments about the officials in and around the game versus West Ham. Again, officials seem to get away with it, and managers, players all seem to get punished, but the officials can just keep putting in horrendous performance and are untouchable, and nobody's allowed to criticise them or say anything about them because, well, you know, fines and bans. Do you think we'll see Salah up top next season? Honestly, don't know. I don't know what to expect from that situation. I don't know. If he's at the club next year, I have no problems with him going through the centre up top. But what I said earlier on is one encouraging thing I did find out is that in Arne Slot's system, the right winger often comes inside and acts as a second number 10 in certain attacking situations. And that, I think, would benefit Mo, because I think he's been too wide and too isolated at times this year. So if we can get him closer centrally, I think that would work. Look, my friends, I'm going to say goodnight to you. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, 8:30. And appreciate you. Thank you for joining us tonight as well. Hope you enjoyed the Champions League semi-final if you're watching it earlier on. And I will catch up with you guys tomorrow. We'll have a video out at 12. We'll have a video out at about 5, 5:30. And then we'll be live at 8:30 tomorrow night as well. So thank you. Don't forget, live show tickets are on sale. Dublin and Belfast. Appreciate your support. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.